Okay, you guys, so we're gonna grab some tinfoil. Okay, you guys, I love all the stars falling. It's beginning to look a lot like Christmas. Not in our home. We literally have that wreath that you see, let me see, on the door, right? And maybe those few decorations on the table right there is about all we have. So we are heading out right now to get a Christmas tree. No judgment, but if you do judge it, it's okay. I mean, today's the day I'm getting a Christmas tree, right? But guess what? Today's the day I'm gonna be making some necklace pendants. You can hear my family in the background, they're so loud. I'm gonna make some necklace pendants using the caulk that we've been using, but also using tinfoil. I don't know how they're gonna turn out, but in my mind, I envision them having like the foil peeking through and just some really pretty colors. So let's get started on that video, and God bless you guys. Who am I? I'm Garlinda Price. I'm excited to be here with you. Hey you guys, okay, so I decided not to use the caulk instead because it's gonna take too long to dry, and I want to be able to take this necklace base or necklace piece with me to my trip that we're going on this coming week. Y'all forgive me, our sinuses are just doing too much. Ooh, all the dust at our old house, I was sweeping out the garage. I think I was doing too much. So you are still gonna need some tinfoil. And this is the kind of gist of what we're going for, but I'm gonna show you, I just did this as a practice one beforehand to see what it would look like. So what I was gonna do was use the tinfoil base, and then I was gonna cover it with caulk, but it'll take too long to dry because especially if I do a thick coat, it's gonna take at least 2 to 3 days to dry completely because it'll be too thick. So what we're gonna do is I'm gonna use the wooden piece. You can get these pieces at Michael's. They come in a whole pack. I went to get some tonight, some extras, and they were all sold out at the Michael's I went to. So I may go to one that's like not in the country per se, but maybe it's not as in high demand. That's where I go sometimes to Aberdeen to get them there. So this is kind of what I'm wanting it to look like. And so as it looks like this, then what I want to do is we're going to paint the back all these really pretty decorative colors. I'm envisioning like some mustard, some purple, some fuchsia, some turquoise to go along with the tropical theme of where we're going to be. And I have no clue what I'm going to wear this with. I just know I want to wear it, right? So I'm also going to make a pair of earrings. So then we're going to have a matching set of earrings, which I think will be super cool. And of course they're gonna have tinfoil on them as well, so they're gonna have like a tinfoil base, and we're gonna have that all colored up and everything else. So super excited. And also the reason I chose this particular piece was because it was already messed up, meaning this is the back of the piece. So if I wanted to use this, I'd have to put several coats of something over the wording to cover it up, so it wasn't going to be usable anyway. So why not make a base with it? I'm rambling. So what we're going to do is we're going to take our tinfoil, and I just took a random amount. I'm going to take probably more than I need because I want to be able to cover that base. And then I'm just going to ball it up. Now, mind you, when I balled it up, it was hard to unball it, right? So just so you know, you might not want to make it so tight that you can't, you know, open it back up and get it back like you want it, because I did notice that the first time I did it, it put up a bit of a ruckus. So it is going to tear some, and you are going to lose a few pieces, and you're going to need a really good glue. I was hoping that not the Elmer's glue is a good glue for this, but I was hoping I had some Elmer's glue, but we ended up, I don't know where it got off to. So I'm going to use the E6000 glue to glue it down, but as you all know, that glue really bothers my husband, and my sinuses are not cooperating right now either, so I don't want to smell it either. So I'm gonna glue it down and let it stay glued overnight, but I want to shape it. I don't want to mess up like the ridges and all the things that are raised on it, but I want to cover it over the base to make sure it's gonna cover like we want. And then I want to make sure to just smoosh it down and make sure that when I go to glue it, you want a flat back. So like you want it to be flat back here, so when you go to glue it down, see, it's gonna have a good grip and like have a good stick to it. So I'm just shaping it a little bit to make sure, one, that it covers everything as much as I want. And of course, you still want to have these raised pieces, but see, it kind of looks like, or gives the appearance to me of a flower. And that's what I want it to look like. So really pretty. I'm almost tempted to leave this piece as large as it is. That's kind of big for a pair of earrings. Right, so let's tear another sheet. So this is gonna be our base for the necklace. And I'm just gonna scrunch it around. You don't necessarily want it to cover the edges of your piece like on the back per se, but I'm gonna trim that off, but I do wanna make sure I have just a really good fit to it. So that's why I'm pushing those areas around it. And then what I'm gonna do is just lift it off and glue it down once I take it back out into the garage, because it'll dry out there. So let's take some more tinfoil. Let's take a smaller piece this time. And remember, so now we're making a pair of our earrings. And I do want these to be larger in style, but I don't want them to be as large as that other piece was over there. So mind you, the more that you bend it, right? The more that you bend it, the more shape and dimension it'll have to it. But I also need to be able to open this back up. So you don't want to squish it so much that you can't bring it back out a little bit, okay? And you want, for the most part, the shiny part to be showing, because that's what's going to show through the paint when you put the paint on here. So now I'm going to flatten this down. And what I'm going to do, same thing I did with the other earring. And we're going to need to be able to drill a hole in this too. So I want to make sure as I'm putting this on here that I'm putting the circle. I guess it won't really matter, but I'm going to need to be able to drill through the tinfoil and through the wood piece. So let's just fit it around the circle just like we did for the necklace. And then let's do our best to match these up. Now this may take some maneuvering and messing with to get them alike. So I have to spread this out a little bit. I'm gonna cover that. I really have more than I need for this one. And so again, you just keep messing with it until you get it like you want it, because you know, once you glue it down, it's not like you're gonna be able to bring it back up, but we have to make sure that these match in shape, that they match in look, and all that jazz. So this one is a little bit more round than that one, so again, when you go to get them glued down, that's so loud on the street behind my house. It's like a main road in the country. And there's always these loud, high trucks going by. And you're wondering, where are they going this time of night in the first place? Like, everybody go sit down somewhere, right? Okay, so I still feel like this one is a little bit more round than that one. So I'm gonna go mess with this one, adjust it to this one, and then we'll be right back. But this is how the necklace base is looking, the earring is looking. I'm gonna turn it around so you can see it. So I decided that I do wanna make a larger pair of earrings. So what I'm thinking I'm gonna do is have something like that hanging. They're super light. And maybe use this as the base on the back just to give it some substance. I'm not sure yet. I'll turn it around so you can see it. So what I'm doing right now is just matching up the tinfoil bases for the earrings, because I just decided that I do want a larger pair. And then you can always trim off the extra or the excess. So what I'm doing is just matching them up. So you want to be sure to mash it down and flatten it out just so The back is flat. We talked about that. And then what I'm gonna do is just put these together to make sure that the shapes are similar. And they're not gonna match exactly because, you know, of course they're handmade and we're working with tinfoil. But you do want to get them as close as you can to each other. So I'm gonna lay them down and look at them. Now what I could do is I could put these on the bases and then drill holes through, which is probably what I'll do, is because I'm gonna drill holes through the wood bases, I'll probably still glue them down. I don't think it should make them any heavier because we're just gonna put them on the back right there. But I feel like that way, when we go to put the jump rings through there, that it'll have something to grab onto and hold onto, so it won't tear the tinfoil over time. So you'll need 4 of the round bases. So I'm gonna go glue them, and then when we come back, we'll start painting. And again, I just wanna make sure, because one of these looks like a toad and the other one kind of looks oval. So let's put it together one more time. Make sure they're matching up as best as possible. And I don't want to mess with them too much because I don't want them to break and crack and all that stuff. And what you could do is you probably could put a layer of Mod Podge over it if you wanted to, but we're not going to do all that. Let's go do our gluing, and then we'll come back and we're going to get to painting. Okay, so here's what they look like so far. So I was able to get them pretty evenly. I'm still going to mess with that piece right there on the end a little bit, but I think they look really pretty. So now what I'm going to do is glue the bases down, let them dry overnight, and then I had to get some new white paint today, so we're going to cover them in like some white paint. But again, we're going to leave a lot of that the shiny part of the tinfoil showing. I just got some new black paint today, and look, I got these. I thought they were the coolest things. I'm not going to use these tonight, but these are plastic puka shell beads. I always thought they were cowrie shells, but I don't know. You say cowrie, they say puka. But anyway, and look, they have holes in them, so these are gonna make some super cute things. I'm also gonna paint these, so like whenever I do use them in a design, I'm gonna paint them different colors, like maybe like a matte cream color, some burgundies, different. I just have some ideas in mind for those. So super, super cute. So I'm gonna go mess with that one, get it evened up. We're gonna glue the base down, and then next time we pick back up in the next video, or as we keep going here and you don't notice that I was ever gone, we're gonna be painting it with a white paint or either an off-white cream color. And then we're gonna put all these beautiful tropical colors on there and figure out, maybe I'll add some of these cowrie beads / puka shells to these as a design element for them to hang and dangle. I don't know, what is it, the mesosphere, the troposphere is the limit? Let's see. Hey you guys, okay, so listen, what I did was I drilled holes in the tops and in the backs of the pieces. So we're getting ready to paint the back, but before I do that, what I want to do is, because the tinfoil is still malleable and can move because it doesn't really have a protective coating over it, it's just still straight tinfoil that I glued down onto these bases, but this part, nothing's taken place, like it hasn't been treated in any sort of way. So I believe what I'm gonna do is, of course I'm gonna paint these backs, But I'm gonna go ahead and put some Mod Podge, regular Mod Podge, or either white glue, a coating all over the tinfoil, just so it keeps it in place, so it'll keep its shape. We don't have to worry about it moving around or anything back here, and especially since we drilled it. So we're gonna do that and let that dry, and then we're gonna come back and start to make our design. This is actually gonna be a clip-on pair of earrings, so you're gonna need some clip-on bases. And then of course, you're gonna need some jump rings. I got these not too long ago, last week, I think at Michael's, but you may need larger jump rings just because there's a pretty deep space between the tinfoil and the hole, so as you can see on top. So you just want to make sure that you have a jump ring that can fit through well enough to make a connection between your two pieces. So I also want to be especially careful, or not careful, but particular about putting glue up here, so that where the jump ring is, as it moves in the earring after the design is finished, that it won't tear or anything like that. So that's what we're gonna do next. Then we'll be back to complete our design.